My name is Emma Sullivan, and I'm 32. For 15 years, my wealthy parents treated me like I was invisible, except when they needed a servant. Meanwhile, my younger sister, Stella, lived like a queen. Every holiday, every family event, I was stuck in the kitchen while she charmed guests effortlessly. But last Christmas Eve, when my mother dropped a bombshell, 25 VIPs at our house tomorrow, 7 main courses, 10 sides, and only 24 hours notice, something inside me finally snapped. What happened next didn't just shake our family to its core, it revealed a secret that left everyone, including a Fortune 500 CEO, utterly speechless. Before I dive in, hit like and subscribe if you love seeing justice served. Tell me where you're watching from. I read every single comment. It all began that December evening in my Manhattan apartment. I was folding clothes into my suitcase when my phone rang. Caller ID. Mom. I already knew this conversation would be a disaster. In our Connecticut home, Christmas decorations sparkled. Decorations I'd hung every year since I was 17. Emma, cancel whatever silly plans you have for tomorrow, my mother, Catherine, barked, skipping hello. Her tone brooked no argument. I kept folding. What's happening? I asked calmly. Stella's hosting her networking group for Christmas Eve dinner. Very important people, Emma. 25 guests, including executives from Pinnacle Corporation. Her smirk practically leaked through the phone. You'll arrive by noon. 7 main courses, 10 sides, menus set. My fingers clenched around my phone. Stella's networking group. My sister, PR Queen, never missed a chance to flaunt connections. Mom, I have. Your sister's making connections that matter. You should be grateful. Her words cut deep. It's not like you have anything else going on. I glanced at my laptop. An email from Victoria Chen, CEO of Pinnacle Hospitality, blinking on the screen. If only Mom knew. Use the good china. These aren't your usual guests. Emma. People who matter. Don't embarrass us. Click. Line dead. I stared at my plane ticket to Florida, flight tomorrow at 8 p.m. My hand didn't shake. 15 years of being invisible had taught me one thing. Their emergency is never my priority. Memories hit like a tidal wave. Every Thanksgiving since I was 17, Emma will handle the cooking. Every Christmas, Emma's between jobs again. At least she's useful in the kitchen. Every family gathering, Stella introduced as our successful PR daughter. Me? Just, Emma's here too. The last party, her engagement, 200 guests, $3,000 dress, 14 hours of me in the kitchen. When someone asked about me, my mother laughed. Emma doesn't have Stella's social skills, but she cooks well. I grabbed my second suitcase. Inside, in a leather folder, lay the contract that would flip my life upside down. Stellar Events, my company, 50 employees, 3 locations, Fortune 500 clients. And tomorrow, while my family expected me at their stove, I had a $2 million deal to seal. My phone buzzed. Stella's text, Mom says you're cooking tomorrow. Don't screw it up. Important people will be there. I looked at my ticket again. Flight 447, Fort Lauderdale, 8 p.m. Not this time, I whispered to the empty room. For once, they'd have to figure it out themselves. I had a plane to catch. The irony hit me like a punch as I continued packing. 2 glaring signs had already shown me exactly where I stood in this family, and I'd ignored them for far too long. The first, how they'd introduced me at last month's country club dinner. My father had turned to his golf buddy and said, Stella's our success story. Emma's between opportunities. Between opportunities. I'd closed a $500,000 deal that very morning. Yet, to them, I was forever unemployed, forever failing. They never asked about my work, never wondered how I could afford my Manhattan apartment or my sleek new car. The one time I mentioned traveling for business, my mother had laughed. What business? Your little cooking hobby? The second sign was even more blatant. Last summer, I'd gone home to find my childhood bedroom gutted, turned into storage for Stella's overflow wardrobe. My trophies, my books, everything that marked my existence, boxed and shoved into the basement. Stella needed the space, my mother had explained as if it were self-evident. Image matters in PR. Meanwhile, Stella had the entire renovated third floor, a home office, walk-in closet, the works. One daughter an investment, the other invisible. I zipped my suitcase, flashing back to last week's company holiday party. My employees had thrown me a surprise celebration for landing the Pinnacle account. 50 people who saw my value, who respected my leadership. And then another text from Mom lit up my phone. Don't forget the truffle oil. These people have sophisticated palates. Sophisticated palates, as if I hadn't been catering CEOs and celebrities for years. But why would she know? She'd never asked. The deepest wound. Their total lack of curiosity. Not once in 5 years had anyone asked, Emma, what do you actually do all day? They'd written their own story. Poor Emma, can't hold a job, surviving in a tiny apartment. A 2-bedroom condo, actually, funded by her own investments from Grandma's gift. At least she can cook, they'd sigh. Meanwhile, I employed 3 executive chefs. Scrolling through my phone, I saw the proof they'd ignored. Me, shaking hands with the mayor at a charity gala I'd catered. My team celebrating the opening of our 3rd location, the Hospitality Quarterly feature, the quiet revolutionary of luxury catering. None of it mattered to them. One time I mentioned a major client, my mother immediately pivoted. At least you're useful in the kitchen, patting my hand like I'd drawn a cute picture. I opened my laptop. Stellar Events, built without a penny from the Sullivans, thriving without their approval. Tomorrow's revenue alone would surpass what Stella earned in 6 months. Yet they'd never know. My assistant had texted, Forbes wants to feature you in their 40 Under 40 issue. They love your story of building without family support. Without family support. If only Forbes knew. They hadn't just withheld it. They'd been blind to my life beyond their kitchen. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, or like your success didn't matter, you'll understand why I did what came next. Drop a comment. Have you ever hidden your achievements from toxic family members? I read every single one. And if this story resonates, consider subscribing. We're building a community that refuses to let anyone dim their light. Then it happened. The text that would change everything. My phone buzzed with a calendar reminder, and reality hit like freezing water. If I stayed silent, if I played their servant one more time, tomorrow I'd lose everything I'd fought for. The Pinnacle hospitality contract wasn't just another deal. It was the deal. $2 million exclusive catering rights to their 5 Florida resorts, and a partnership that would catapult Stellar Events onto the national stage. The meeting was December 26th, 9 a.m. Non-negotiable. Victoria Chen, Pinnacle's CEO, had been crystal clear. I'm flying back to Singapore on the 27th, Emma. If we don't finalize this in person, the board will go with our second choice. Our second choice, my competitor, circling this contract like a vulture. But this wasn't just about money. 50 employees were counting on me. Maria, my head chef, had just made an offer on her first house based on the growth this contract promised. James, my operations manager, planned to move his kids to better schools. This wasn't just my dream anymore. It was theirs too. I pulled up my bank statements. I was successful, yes, but this contract would change everything. The difference between regional recognition and national domination, a once-in-a-career opportunity. My phone rang, CFO. Emma, just confirming you'll be at the resort tomorrow evening for the pre-meeting dinner with Victoria's team. I'll be there, I said, glancing at my packed bags. Victoria's excited to meet the CEO who built an impressive company without family money or connections. Rare to see that kind of authentic success, without family money or connections, if only she knew. Then my phone pinged with an email from Mom. Subject line: Urgent Christmas Eve menu. My stomach twisted. 7 main courses, 10 sides, dietary restrictions for 5 guests, wine pairings, desserts. The detail was insane. Use the Waterford crystal and the silver with the monogram, she'd written. These are important people, Emma. One of them is Victoria from Pinnacle. She could be valuable for Stella's career. I nearly dropped my phone. Victoria Chen? She'd be at my parents' house, served by the unemployed daughter who was supposed to be invisible. My heart raced as I scanned the attached guest list. There it was, unmistakable. Victoria Chen, CEO, Pinnacle Hospitality. Another text from Stella. Mom says Victoria Chen will be there. Huge in hospitality. Hoping to pitch her on PR services. Don't embarrass me with your amateur cooking. Amateur cooking? I just catered Victoria's company retreat for 500 people last month. Through my executive team, yes. But she didn't know that yet. Our meeting tomorrow was her first face-to-face with me. I sank onto my bed, the weight of the choice crushing me. Stay and serve the woman who could make me a millionaire pretending to be a failure, or leave, risk my family's wrath, and secure my future. My Uber notification blinked. Your ride to JFK Airport is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. I looked at the menu, my contract, and my plane ticket. The choice was crystal clear. I picked up my phone and dialed Mom. She answered immediately. Finally. I was starting to worry you weren't taking this seriously. Mom, I can't do it. Silence. Then her voice sharpened. What do you mean you can't? I have a business trip. Flying to Florida tonight. Don't be ridiculous. What business could you possibly have? An important meeting. She laughed cruelly. Emma, stop being selfish. Your sister needs this. Stella has a full catering team she could hire. With what money? Do you even know how expensive that is? I bit my tongue. The irony of her lecturing me about catering costs while speaking to a company owner nearly made me laugh. Family comes first, she snapped. Or are you too selfish to understand? I understand perfectly. Family comes first when you need something from me. How dare you? When's the last time you asked about my life, Mom? We know about your life. You're between jobs, living in that tiny apartment. I'm a CEO. She laughed again, crueler. A CEO of what? Your imaginary company? It's not imaginary. I have 50 employees. Emma, enough with the fantasies. Stella needs this. You owe us. Owe you? You raised me, fed me, kept me in your home while treating me like hired help. You're being dramatic. What else do you have to do? Sit in your apartment alone on Christmas? I glanced at my business class ticket. I have a flight at 8 p.m. Cancel it. No. If you leave, don't bother coming back. The same threat she'd used countless times before. Usually it worked. Usually I caved. Then, I guess this is goodbye, I said quietly. You can't be serious. I'm done being the family servant, Mom. Done being invisible until you need something. You, ungrateful. I hung up. My hands shook, but for the first time in 15 years, it wasn't fear or anger. It was freedom. My phone blew up with texts from Stella. What did you just do? Mom's having a meltdown. Stop being dramatic and get over here. I turned it off and continued packing. They'd figure it out. They always did when forced. I turned it back on to set one thing straight. Stella called immediately. What is wrong with you? She screeched. I have a business meeting on Christmas Eve. Stop lying. I'm not. This is about that stupid fight last month, isn't it? Mom gave me your room. My room became your closet years ago, Stella. No, this is about my career. What career? You cook sometimes. I own a catering company. Sure you do, her voice dripping with condescension. Look, I'll pay you to cook. $200? I almost laughed. My day rate was $5,000. Not that she'd ever know. This is non-negotiable, Stella. I'm not coming. Mom will disown you. That's her choice. You're really going to ruin Christmas, ruin my networking opportunity. Victoria Chen will be there. Then hire a caterer. On Christmas Eve? Are you insane? No one's available? I walked to the kitchen counter where I'd left a notepad earlier. 3 emergency catering companies. 24-hour hotlines. More than they deserved, but I wasn't heartless. I left a note on the counter with the numbers. I'm not driving to Manhattan for your stupid note. Then Google emergency catering services. You're being selfish. I'm being professional. My business requires me to travel. What business? She screamed. Stop pretending. The Uber notification popped up. Your driver arrives in 2 hours. I have to go, Stella. If you do this, you're dead to us. I'm already invisible. What's the difference? I hung up, turning off my phone completely. On the counter, I placed the note and my business card. Emma Sullivan, CEO, Stellar Events. They wouldn't see it. They wouldn't come. But I knew I'd tried to help, even as I chose myself for the first time. The plane lifted off from JFK at 8:07 p.m. Connecticut disappeared beneath me, a blur of lights. Somewhere down there, my mother was probably calling every relative, painting me as the ungrateful daughter who abandoned Christmas. I opened my laptop and reviewed the Pinnacle contract. Clause 15.3, CEO presents, required for all strategic planning sessions. Victoria insisted on it. She only worked with hands-on founders. My inbox pinged. 17 new messages from her team, confirming tomorrow's pre-meeting dinner at 7 p.m., presentation at 9 a.m., contract signing immediately after. I clicked Victoria's latest email. Looking forward to finally meeting you in person, Emma. I've been following Stellar Events for 2 years. Your reputation precedes you. My reputation. If only she knew the same woman she was about to partner with was supposed to be serving her dinner at my parents' house right now. A text from my assistant lit up the plain Wi-Fi. Forbes wants to know if they can mention your family background in the article. They're interested in the built from scratch without family support angle. I typed back, tell them the article runs December 27th, correct? Yes, midnight on the 26th. Perfect timing. By the time my family realized who I really was, the Pinnacle contract would be signed, and the news public. I pulled up the draft Forbes article. Headline, From Invisible to Invaluable. How Emma Sullivan Built a Catering Empire Without a Dollar of Family Money. The universe, it seemed, had a twisted sense of humor about timing. The Pinnacle Resort Suite stole my breath. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Atlantic. A bottle of champagne on ice, handwritten note, Welcome, Miss Sullivan. Looking forward to our partnership. Victoria Chen. I set my bags down and checked my phone. 47 missed calls from Mom, 18 from Stella, even 3 from my usually silent father. I deleted the voicemails without a second thought. Instead, I opened an email that made me smile. My PR manager had sent the final Forbes proof. They've moved you to the cover story. December 27th. Every newsstand. The cover. Me. Confident, professional, nothing like the invisible daughter they'd known. Front and center. The article detailed everything. $5,000 saved from waiting tables, company built without investors, deliberately succeeding without leaning on family connections. Another email from Victoria Chen. Emma, arriving late to tomorrow's dinner, coming straight from Connecticut. Hope that's fine. Connecticut. She was at my parents' house right now, probably wondering where the elaborate Christmas Eve dinner was. My assistant texted, Forbes reporter wants to know if you'll mention your family's reaction. I replied, they'll find out with everyone else when the magazine hits stands. That's cold, boss. Love it, she shot back. I walked to the window watching the waves crash. In 12 hours, the biggest deal of my career. In 36 hours, my face on every Forbes magazine in the country. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge, it's success they never saw coming. While I slept peacefully in Florida, chaos reigned in Connecticut. Texts the next morning confirmed the disaster unfolded exactly as expected. By 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve, Mom realized I wasn't coming. The kitchen, pristine, empty, the fridge stocked with only basics. 25 guests arriving in an hour. Stella's panicked texts. Mom's losing it. Calling every restaurant within 50 miles. Everything's closed. How could you do this? Dad texted at 6:45 p.m. Your mother is having a breakdown. Please reconsider. By 7 p.m., guests arrived. Investment bankers, PR execs, and most importantly, Victoria Chen. They expected an elaborate, home-cooked Christmas Eve feast, the kind my mother had boasted about for weeks. Stella's texts, 7:23 p.m., we're ordering pizza. Pizza, Emma, do you understand what you've done? 7:47 p.m., Mom just told everyone you're unreliable. She's blaming you for everything. Delivery arrived at 8:15 p.m., 5 boxes from Papa John's, 3 from Domino's. My mother, who'd spent weeks bragging about my cooking, now serving pizza on her Waterford Crystal. Texts kept coming. Victoria Chen looks disgusted. People are leaving. Mom told everyone you're mentally unstable. She said you've always been the family disappointment. Last text, 9:33 p.m. Party's over. Everyone left early. Victoria didn't stay for dessert. Mom says you're dead to her. I put down my phone and ordered room service breakfast. In 3 hours, I'd have dinner with Victoria Chen. Would she mention the disaster? Recognize my last name? Most of all, I wondered what Mom's face would look like when she learned the truth. The pre-dinner meeting at Pinnacle Resort was set for 7 p.m. I arrived early in my sharpest suit, heart steady, ready to close the deal that would define my career. But I hadn't expected Victoria Chen to walk in with a story that would make me smirk. Emma, she greeted warmly, though exhaustion shadowed her face. I have to apologize for being late. I just flew in from the most bizarre Christmas Eve party in Connecticut. I kept my composure. I'd rehearsed every scenario. Oh? What happened? You won't believe this. She sat, shaking her head. I was invited to what should have been an elegant dinner. The hostess, Catherine Sullivan, funny coincidence, same last name as you, promised an elaborate meal prepared by her daughter. I nodded silently. We arrived to total chaos. No food, empty kitchen, the hostess scrambling to order pizza. Pizza, for executives and business owners she'd been impressing for months. That must have been awkward. It gets worse. She pulled out her phone, showing a photo. My mother, face red with embarrassment, pizza boxes stacked on her mahogany table. The older daughter, the one who was supposed to cook, disappeared. The younger daughter, Stella, tried to salvage things, pitching PR services while serving Papa John's on fine china. Did you stay long? 20 minutes after pizza arrived. The hostess kept making excuses, blaming the absent daughter. She said the daughter was too stupid to hold a real job, so she usually just cooked for them. The most unprofessional evening I've ever seen. My hands rested firmly on my portfolio. That's terrible. I can't imagine treating family that way. Victoria opened her menu. Now, let's discuss something more pleasant. Your incredible company. Everything after this unraveled spectacularly. If you've ever waited for truth to meet consequences, this is the moment. But first, what would you have done? Reveal yourself to Victoria now, or wait for a perfect moment. Comment below. I read everyone. The next morning, December 26th, I stood in Pinnacle's boardroom. Contract ready, presentation flawless, everything on track until Victoria's assistant entered with an iPad. Miss Chen, you need to see this. Photo from that Connecticut party going viral on LinkedIn. Victoria took it. Her expression shifted. Curiosity, confusion, shock. She looked at me, back to the screen, then at me again. Emma. This photo from the Sullivan house in Connecticut. She turned the iPad. A family photo from last Thanksgiving. Me, barely visible in the background, Stella front and center with our parents. Is this you? Yes. Sullivan. Catherine Sullivan is your mother? Yes. Silence filled the room. Victoria's team exchanged looks. The legal counsel lowered his pen. The woman who called you unreliable, mentally unstable, unemployable, is your mother? Yes. Victoria stood, moved to the window, then back to me. You were supposed to cook that dinner, the one that turned into a pizza disaster. I was. But I chose to be here, meeting with you. You chose your business over being treated like a servant. Victoria pulled up another photo on her phone. Your mother said you don't have a job, that you're a failure who can only cook. She doesn't know about stellar events. Your own mother doesn't know you're a CEO. She never asked. Victoria sank into her chair. Let me understand this. Your family has no idea you run one of the most successful catering companies on the East Coast? None. They don't know about my 50 employees, 3 locations, the $2 million contract we're about to sign. They think I'm unemployed, living in a studio apartment. Victoria's business partner, James, spoke up. I need clarification. The woman serving pizza on Waterford Crystal last night. She has no idea her daughter could have catered that event with 5-star quality. She's never asked. She just assumes I'm a failure. Victoria laughed, genuine, unrestrained laughter. Oh my God, she spent the entire evening complaining about her daughter. And that daughter is you, the CEO I've been trying to partner with for 2 years. She glanced at her team. Gentlemen, we're about to sign the most interesting contract of our careers. Victoria pulled out her phone, typing my name into Google. Results loaded instantly. Oh my God. Look at this. First, my feature in Hospitality Quarterly. Second, James Beard Award nomination. Third, Wall Street Journal profile on women entrepreneurs. Your family doesn't know any of this. Before I could answer, her assistant burst in. Miss Chen, you'll want to see this. Forbes just announced their 40 under 40 cover story for tomorrow. The boardroom screen lit up. There I was, professional headshot front and center. Headline, From Invisible to Invaluable. How Emma Sullivan Built a Catering Empire Without a Dollar of Family Money. Victoria read aloud. Sullivan, 32, built stellar events from a $5,000 investment into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, deliberately avoiding family connections or support. I wanted to prove success doesn't require a famous last name, Sullivan states. She looked at me. This goes live at midnight? Your family still doesn't know? They will, when everyone else does. James whistled low. Your mother is going to see her unemployable daughter on Forbes. Victoria's assistant scrolled through the article. It says here you have a 6-month waiting list for events. True. 8 months during peak season. Victoria stood. I need to make a phone call. She stepped out, talking animatedly. 5 minutes later she returned, a strange smile on her face. I just called Catherine Sullivan. My stomach dropped. You what? I told her I was disappointed in last night's event and would take my business elsewhere. She begged me to reconsider, blaming her older daughter. Then I said, I just signed a $2 million contract with the most talented entrepreneur I know. She asked who. I said, your daughter, Emma Sullivan, CEO of Stellar Events. Silence. The sound she made, like all the air had been sucked out of her lungs. Then she hung up. My phone on silent showed 47 missed calls in 3 minutes, all from Mom. Victoria extended her hand. Miss Sullivan, let's sign this contract. Partnership to celebrate. I signed the $2 million contract. My phone exploded with texts. Dad, your mother just fainted. What the hell is Stellar Events? Mom, answer your phone now. Stella, is this some kind of sick joke? Dad, your mother is hysterical. Call immediately. Stella, Victoria Chen just told everyone you're a CEO. Mom, this is cruel, Emma, pretending to be successful to humiliate us. I returned to the boardroom. Victoria and her team celebrated. My family thinks I'm lying about being a CEO. Victoria's eyes gleamed. Want me to send them something? Before I could respond, she snapped a photo of me with the signed contract, Pinnacle's executive team, and champagne, typed rapidly, and hit send. I just posted it on LinkedIn, she said, tagged Stellar Events, Pinnacle Hospitality, and Catherine Sullivan of Connecticut. The post read, "Thrilled to announce our $2 million partnership with Stellar Events and their brilliant CEO, Emma Sullivan. Her company's excellence in luxury catering will elevate Pinnacle's guest experience across all properties. Incredible to work with someone who built their empire from scratch." Within minutes, likes and comments exploded. Industry leaders I'd worked with for years congratulated me. Previous clients shared their Stellar Events experiences. My phone rang. Stella. I answered on speaker with Victoria's permission. This can't be real. Stella's voice quivered. It is. You've been a CEO this whole time? 5 years? Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. You assumed I was a failure and treated me like one. Mom's having a breakdown. She's calling everyone, trying to explain. Everyone saw Victoria's post. That's not my problem anymore. How can you be so cold? I looked at Victoria and her team, all successful professionals who never questioned my worth. I'm not cold, Stella. I'm done. Done being invisible until you need a cook. Done being the family disappointment. Done pretending to be less than I am to make you comfortable. But we're family. Family doesn't treat each other like servants. Call me when you're ready to meet Emma Sullivan, the CEO, not Emma the cook. I hung up. Victoria raised her champagne glass. To boundaries. We toasted, and for the first time in my life, I felt truly seen. That evening, I finally called my mother. She answered before the first ring finished. How could you do this to us? She was crying. Do what, exactly? Humiliate us. Victoria Chen told everyone at the country club about your company. People are asking why we didn't know our own daughter was successful. You never asked about my life, Mom. We asked. We knew you cooked sometimes. You assumed I was a failure. For 5 years you introduced me as unemployed, never once asked about my work, my apartment, my life. You should have told us. I tried. Remember 3 years ago when I mentioned landing a big client? You immediately switched to Stella's PR campaign for some energy drink. You said, "That's nice, dear, but Stella's work is really taking off." Silence. I left catering numbers on my counter, Mom. You could have saved the party. We don't have keys to your apartment. You never asked to visit. You don't even know where I live. That's not. Mom, I employ 50 people, 3 locations, featured in multiple publications, James Beard Award nominee, and you thought I was unemployed because it was easier than seeing me succeed. We're your family. My family needs a servant. My business needs a CEO. I chose my business. This is about spite. No, Mom. This is self-respect. I built something amazing without any of you. Not your money, connections, or belief. What do you want from us? Nothing. That's the point. For the first time, I need absolutely nothing from you. Emma? The Forbes article comes out at midnight. It details exactly how I built my company without family support. You told Forbes about us? I told my truth. If that embarrasses you, maybe reflect why. I heard my father in the background. Catherine, maybe we should listen. I'm done listening, Mom snapped at him, then at me. You've destroyed this family." "No, Mom. I finally built my life. Call me when you're ready to be equals, not master and servant." I hung up gently, lighter than I had felt in years. The social consequences were swift and brutal, but not for me. Within 48 hours of Victoria's LinkedIn post, my family's carefully curated reputation crumbled. Country club gossip was relentless. Stella's panicked texts revealed it all. Pinnacle just canceled our PR contract. Victoria Chen doesn't work with people who lack family values. A $500,000 annual loss. Mom got removed from the charity board. They said it was unrelated, but everyone knows. It's Dad's golf buddies are asking how he didn't know his own daughter was a millionaire. The Forbes article had detonated in our Connecticut social circle. The headline alone, "Built without a dollar of family money," was devastating. But the quote that truly obliterated them was buried in paragraph 3. My family assumed I was unemployed. It was easier to build an empire in silence than to fight their assumptions. Finally, my father called me directly, something he hadn't done in over a decade. "Emma, I need to say something." I waited. "I knew you were doing something with catering. I saw the business registration years ago when mail got mixed up, but your mother was so certain about who you were supposed to be. I should have spoken up. I'm ashamed." It was the most honest thing he had said to me in 15 years. "Why didn't you?" I asked. "Because it was easier to let her narrative stand than fight it. I see now that made me complicit. Your success is remarkable, and we missed it because we weren't looking. Dad, your mother lost 3 charity positions. Stella's firm is hemorrhaging clients. Everyone is asking how we could treat our successful daughter like hired help while praising Stella for mediocre PR work. I never wanted to hurt anyone. You didn't hurt us, Emma. We hurt ourselves. We wrote a story where you were the failure and Stella was the success, and now everyone can see how blind we were." He paused. "That pizza disaster is already country club legend. Catherine Sullivan, who bragged about her entertaining for years, serving Papa John's on Waterford Crystal while her CEO daughter was signing million-dollar deals." Despite everything, I felt a flicker of sympathy. "Dad, I don't apologize. You earned this. Every single consequence." While my family dealt with their social catastrophe, my life skyrocketed. The Forbes article included a photo of me at the Pinnacle signing, champagne in hand, flanked by executives who valued my work. The contrast to my family's Thanksgiving photo, where I lurked in the background like invisible help, was not lost on anyone. Within a week, Stellar Events received over 200 inquiries. High-end clients previously on the fence clamored to work with the CEO who built an empire from scratch. My inbox flooded with interview requests, speaking engagements, and partnership proposals. Victoria Chen became my fiercest champion. She introduced me to her network, recounting the Christmas Eve disaster with barely concealed delight. Imagine having a golden goose in your house and treating it like a servant duck. 3 major contracts emerged from those introductions alone, worth a combined $10 million. I hired 20 new employees to handle the growth, promoted Maria to executive chef and James to COO. During an expansion meeting, Maria said something that stayed with me. "You know what I love most about this company? You built it for people who were overlooked. Half of us were told we'd never amount to anything." She was right. I had unconsciously hired people like me, talented, underestimated, dismissed. My assistant forwarded a reporter's text. "Your story is everywhere." Food Network wants to discuss a documentary. Working title, Invisible to Invaluable, The Emma Sullivan Story. The pinnacle moment came when I received an invitation to speak at Cornell's School of Hotel Administration. My dream school, which my parents once said was too ambitious. The topic, Building Success Without Permission, Creating Your Own Path in Hospitality. Reviewing my notes, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "We need to talk. Please." I stared at it, then archived the message and returned to planning my future. Success, I'd learned, was the ultimate response to disrespect. Boundaries. Boundaries were the gift I finally gave myself. 3 months later, I agreed to meet my family at a neutral location, a quiet Manhattan restaurant, my territory. They looked diminished somehow. Mom had lost her imperious edge, Stella her smugness, and Dad appeared aged years. Before anyone spoke, I placed a single sheet of paper on the table. These are my terms. This is non-negotiable, I said, my voice steady, sharp as a knife. I'll be your daughter, not your servant, your sister, not your staff. Those are my terms. My mother's eyes welled with tears. Emma, we've lost everything. My reputation, Stella's clients. That's not my responsibility, Mom. We know, my father interjected, calm but raw. We're not here to blame you. We're here to ask for a second chance. Stella spoke for the first time, voice trembling but honest. I was jealous. You were always better at everything, but Mom made me feel special by making you feel small. I see how sick that was now. I go to therapy. My therapist says we created a system where someone had to be the scapegoat for everyone else to feel successful. You were assigned that role before you could even fight it. My mother reached across the table, though she didn't touch me. I'm sorry, not just for Christmas Eve, but for 15 years of blindness. I turned you into a servant because I couldn't bear that you might outshine the life I'd planned for you. I looked at each of them, my gaze firm. I'll consider it, but know this. I'm not coming back to the same family. If we rebuild, it's as equals. They nodded. And Mom, you're paying full price if you ever want Stellar Events to cater anything. For the first time in months, she actually smiled. Fair. 6 months later, I hosted my first family dinner in my own apartment, the 2-bedroom condo with a view of Central Park they'd never known existed. Stellar Events handled the catering. I no longer cooked for family gatherings. My employees called me boss, serving my parents and Stella at my table. The role reversal was unmistakable. But this wasn't revenge, it was truth. I want to be clear about something, I said, lifting my glass of wine. Success doesn't need permission. Self-worth doesn't require validation. And respect. Respect is non-negotiable. My mother nodded. She'd been in therapy for 4 months and publicly apologized at the country club, admitting she'd been blind to my success. It didn't repair her reputation entirely, but it began to repair our relationship. Stella's PR firm had pivoted, and she'd professionally and humbly asked if Stellar Events would consider her for PR work. I told her to submit a proposal like everyone else. She did, and it was good. We were considering it. My father had become my unexpected ally, finally finding his voice after years of silence. Now he introduced me proudly as my daughter, the CEO. The biggest change was in me. I no longer hid my success or dimmed my light. Stellar Events had grown to 100 employees across 5 cities. The Food Network documentary had aired to critical acclaim. Every morning, I looked in the mirror and reminded myself, I'm Emma Sullivan, CEO of Stellar Events, not the family servant, never again. Your value doesn't decrease because someone else can't see it. Remember that. Thank you for joining me on this journey from invisible to invaluable. If my story resonated with you, share a time when you had to choose yourself over family expectations in the comments. Your story could inspire someone today. If you believe everyone deserves respect, regardless of their role, share this video with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more stories of people refusing to stay small. Remember, you're never obligated to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Until next time, this is Emma, reminding you to know your worth, and then add tax.